What's up, guys? It's your boy T,
And it's your boy D.
It's your boy Jay.
and this is Unquoted, your number one source for pop culture commentary, guys. Let's get it. Okay, guys, so today's topic is, should rappers be forced to talk on social issues? So, should they be activists? And this topic comes out of a conversation that Reason had with the Breakfast Club earlier on this week. So, essentially, Reason discussed his problem with Logic, in which he basically said in his previous topics that like Logic was pretty much a culture vulture, in the sense where he like, because he goes on interviews and says that, oh, I'm a black man, but he thinks he doesn't speak out enough against black issues. So what are you guys' thoughts, opinions about Logic, about Reason's statement on that, and about, I guess, rappers being forced to become political activists or talking about social issues?
So Reason is mad at Logic for like not talking about black issues enough, right? That's what you're saying?
Essentially, yeah. So he did apologize for it now, but he kind of still felt somewhat within that. So what do you feel? How do you feel about that, D?
I feel as if he's a rapper. He's supposed to just rap. But if he wants to talk about social issues, then go ahead. But that's not his job. And personally, I think famous people in general shouldn't really try to talk about social issues that much, because they might influence people to just, pick a side just because like, oh, he's famous and, I and like, I, like that person, because what if that person's stance is like a bad and like harmful stance? But I feel as if they should just like, bring it to our attention and then let us, digest and like form our own thoughts and feelings on things, and like they should just leave it like that.
So what's your opinion on this, Jay?
I would say rappers or artists that are knowledgeable on like real social issues, or like in terms of politics, in terms of just, I would say speak on it if you actually know about it. And if it's like very blatant and obvious, I think everyone should be obligated to speak about it, especially if it's something like such as police brutality against African Americans, or wrongful injustice that you see. I feel like everybody should be obligated to speak on it. And I would say, and also say that everybody should also feel a desire to potentially give back in some type of way, some type of form or fashion, especially if you're rich. Like, it should be giving back to the black community, giving back to those in need, or like people that are really struggling right now, especially during an economic recession, during a pandemic. I feel like giving back to the community is something that's very important, and especially speaking up about social problems in America, such as the gap between the rich and the poor in America. Like, speaking up about real social issues is very important, and you're just looked upon even more greatly, more highly, if you do speak upon social issues and along with being great at what you already do.
Okay. So from my perspective, so I'm gonna take on the first one first. So okay, so the first one against Logic versus Reason, in which he's talking about him speaking more against political issues because he's always saying he's black. I don't think it's Reason's place to sit there and tell someone, oh, because you're black, you have to do this. And he's essentially, he was targeting Logic because, let's be honest, Logic looks like a white guy, but he's technically mixed. I don't think it's Reason's place to sit there and tell Logic that, like, oh, because even though you're biracial, but because you look morally white, you specifically have to say something, which I think is bullshit, because it's like, you can't help genetics. He's mixed. He can't, it's not his fault that he looks white. So I think that's bullshit for Reason to sit there and say that he's a culture vulture. It's like, dude, he's black. He grew up in a black family. Yes, he looks white. Genetics, what are you going to do about it? Reason should mind his own business. I don't think he's a culture vulture for talking about the life that he lives. Like, who's Reason to comment on his life? I personally think that's bullshit, and I think he should have done his homework more and read more about Logic, because he kind of like breezed through it. Like, yeah, I know he's black, but still, like, no, it's not still. Like, read about the guy's life, learn about him, and educate yourself and stop being ignorant. And then the second thought to that is, I think Dave Chappelle kind of summed up kind of artists becoming activists very well in one of his skits, where they're asking about Ja Rule. Like, Ja Rule, what do you think about the statement about like September 11 or something like that? Artists, when they sign a contract, it says be artists. It doesn't say activist. It doesn't say social. It doesn't say any of that. It says artist. So why are we expecting artists to talk about stuff that most of them aren't even informed about? Like most of these, some of these guys haven't even graduated high school, and you expect them to know about politics and political stuff. Like not only that, but like you gotta think about what artists talk about. Most rap artists talk about what big booty girls and scamming and getting money. So you want to take political advice from someone who's telling you to scam and throw money and to sell drugs. You want that person informing people on how to like social issues and how to act. Like, no, I honestly, I think I always thought that was ridiculous. Like, I think if an artist really wants to do something and be political and do something for the greater good, like how T.I. is currently doing right now and how he speaks on current issues, I think that's great. But I don't think that they owe anything specifically to anybody else, because it's like, who are we to tell someone else how to spend their money, how to use their money? Like, I think it's great if they want to go back and they want to help out the community, they want to do stuff for the community. But I think to point a finger and say that like you should or you have to do this, like, no, they didn't sign up for that. I think like we got to put more power. I mean, we got to put more pressure on it. Like, I don't understand how people put so much pressure on artists, but they don't put the same pressure on politicians, and they don't put the same pressure on governors. They don't put this, like there's so many people in the political system that need this pressure, but you guys want to put them on entertainers who like half of them just all they do is entertain. So I mean, honestly, I just don't get it. So how do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, like you pretty much hit the nail in the coffin there. And I think the reason that most people, try to force these rappers and like entertainers to speak on it is mainly because they look up to them, and so they kind of expect them to just already be taking action or doing the morally good thing. And whenever they don't do that, that kind of like shatters their vision of them, and they are trying to like force you to kind of be who they think you should be.
I would say it goes back to the point of, if you're not knowledgeable about it and you are completely ignorant to what's going on, don't speak about it. But if you are aware of everything that's going on and you're someone that's in like a big spotlight, such as a celebrity, not even just a rapper or artist, just someone in the big spotlight, could be any other professional athlete or any other celebrity, it's going to make you look viewed upon even highlier if you do speak upon it. And it does give you a very good reputation and perception about you if you do speak upon all the racial inequality and the economic inequality that's been going on for a long ass time. And I feel like you're looked upon even greater. But then again, at the end of the day, of course, nobody's actually obligated to do that, but I think you're looked upon greater if you do.
My only comment on that is that but if a person is just like just doing it to be looked upon greater, then like, is it genuine?
It depends on how you say it, how often you say it, if you give back and put action behind your words that you're saying. So it depends on a lot of other factors to tell whether or not it's actually genuine. And you can tell whether it's genuine or not.
No, I think they're both very good points that you made, Jay. Like, I think like if they're educated, then they should definitely speak about it. Like, that's actually a good point. And D, you also made some very good points too. I also want to say something else. I want to throw something else in the situation. How do you guys feel about rappers who give their opinion but aren't informed? An example, or not only aren't informed but seem disinterested. So like, I don't know if you guys remembered where like ASAP Rocky was talking about like some of the social issues, how like it doesn't really affect him. And I remember one issue he said that like he was talking about we should focus on black violence, stopping that before anything else. We should, instead of worrying about like cops and stuff like that. So how do you guys feel about like when artists make statements that don't really make sense at all? How do you guys feel about that?
I think it makes them sound very crazy, very ignorant if you do speak up upon stuff like that and you're not that knowledgeable about it. Or it just makes you sound very selfish, or like you only give a fuck about yourself when you say some things like that. Like I'm even thinking about like an old interview that Lil Wayne did. He was just like saying, if it don't bother me, why should I worry about it? I feel like saying shit like that, it can piss a lot of people off, pisses off all your supporters, or everybody that really looked up to you. And now they're just shaking their head at you because it shows you basically saying that translates basically to, I only give a fuck about myself. And nobody likes someone that's selfish and only cares about themselves.
That's a good point. I personally feel that, they are still like regular people at the end of the day, and we've all just like made comments or just like talked about something even though we didn't know the whole picture. So for people like them, I just pay them no mind and just don't take them seriously because they just aren't informed enough to really be taken seriously in the first place.
No, that makes sense. I think with me, the only thing that I don't like is the sense of arrogance that some of them do it. Like for me, like Lil Wayne not doing it is really annoying but I can kind of give Lil Wayne a little bit of a pass just because even people in his camp admit that he's so out of touch with reality just because he's been rich for so long. But people like ASAP Rocky kind of make me mad because it's like you kind of know it, and it's like if you don't want to speak about, that's fine, but don't say like something like arrogant. Like when ASAP said that, like, oh, we should be focused on black crime, which I'm gonna briefly sum that up, which is the biggest load of bullshit the face of the earth, black on black crime, because white people kill white people, black people kill black people, Hispanic people kill Hispanic. Every race kills each other. Asian people kill Asian people. Like it, black on black crime is the dumbest shit that I've ever heard. So it kind of annoys me when I hear rappers like ASAP Rocky say some ignorant shit like that out of their mouth because it's like, come on, you as a black person should know that's dumb. But besides that, like I completely agree with you, D. Sometimes you really can't take some people seriously just because it's like they're not politicians, and
Yeah.
it's just his point of view. So
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, like just because he's famous doesn't mean he knows everything. And I think we like as like regular people always assume that these famous people, they can never be wrong, they can never be misinformed, and then we just like cancel them or like shun them. But we're wrong a bunch of times in our lives, and what does the other person do? We just help them out, get them informed. And I think that's what we should start doing.
no, that's definitely a good point. That's definitely true. So do any of you guys have any closing statements?
Rappers and all kinds of entertainers, they should just bring awareness, but don't try to sway people to like join your side because you might not be as informed.
I would say if you're knowledgeable, speak on it. And if you're not knowledgeable and you are probably gonna say some crazy shit, don't speak up on it. And if you do, and if you say that you only give a fuck about, you basically saying you only give a fuck about yourself. If you say, if that doesn't affect me, why should I worry about it? Or if it's not currently bothering me at the moment, then don't worry about it. I feel like that's a very arrogant thing to say, and it makes you come off as very selfish and that you only give a fuck about yourself, which is sad and should be looked down upon.
No, I definitely agree with you, Jay. I think like I don't think artists should be expected to do it. I think people need to put more of that pressure on their politicians. They need to look more into their local politics instead of placing that on artists. But I also agree it is very annoying when you have an artist who's very arrogant and who says like, "Oh, I don't care about it," or like, "This doesn't affect me," which you think is bullshit, which I think is bullshit because like you think about it, it's like before you're an artist, what were you? A regular person, right? So these are issues that would have affected you, but now because you feel like you're better, that this doesn't affect you. So like I said, if you don't have to speak up on it, I'm not holding anything against people who don't speak up on it. But at the same time, don't disrespect it either. If you haven't faced police brutality, okay, fine, to each his own. But don't speak against it like it doesn't exist. That's what I'm saying.
Hmm.
But this has been your boy T,
And this has been your boy D.
It's been your boy Jay.
and we are out. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.